The Sandy and Toddcast is a Mindgarden Media podcast in association with
Screw You, Todd
Productions.
Broadcasting from two very different yet magical places not found on any map. Get ready to discuss the strange, weird, ghostly, crazy, spooky, and odd things that take place around us each and every day. All while having a little bit of fun. This is the Sandy and Toddcast.
Welcome back to the Sandy and Toddcast. She is Sandy.
He is Todd.
And I know you told me, but I totally don't remember what episode this is. So
I couldn't remember either, and I was mad at you for asking me. It is season 15, episode 2.
2. Okay.
2.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
We kicked it off with the live, which we will be doing again down the road.
If the equipment all works.
I know. This poor man just spent, I don't know, how long have we been
yesterday.
on?
I spent all day
weekend.
Yesterday getting the studio ready. Yeah.
Yeah, because you got a new everything.
Yep.
Pretty much. A brand new studio.
Pretty much.
Say. And I feel your pain because I have done the same thing before many times, and it takes forever. So I feel your pain and your frustration. But here we are. And what are you eating?
Having a little cold pizza.
You know what? Cold pizza is good. That works.
Damn right.
So here's the deal. Because we didn't do anything last week, I've got stuff piled up now that I want to talk about, that I think would be cool to talk about. Okay. So first things first, I got a new tattoo Thursday, and it's really cool because as everybody knows, I lost my mom last year, and I've been trying to figure out, I knew I wanted to do something to kind of honor her. And I already have 9 tattoos. It's not like it, was my first one ever. But this one was incredibly special, just like it was very special for me in 2020 when we lost my best friend, Jack, our dog Jack. And so I was trying to figure out what I want to do. And all of a sudden one day it came to me. I said, she signed off on a card, "I love you, Mom." And I thought, wouldn't it be cool? I've seen it before, to do something like that. So I did. I went Thursday night and I got the sign off on a card from my mom. It says, "I love you." And then there's a heart and then Mom. And you know what was weird though, Todd? Because you have tattoos. There's this new thing they use called Sanoderm. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Now, my last one was when Jack passed away in 2020, so it hasn't been that long. And in all of the other tattoos I've ever had, they've never used anything like this. Basically, they just put the bandage on you, tell you to wait an hour or two, take it off, and, do the lotion or whatever. And I've never had a problem with it healing, always heal great. They say if you're diabetic, you should be really, I've never had an issue. So she puts this film on top of it. I got it on my lower forearm, on my forearm, and she puts it on there and says, "This is called Sanoderm. Keep it on for 3 to 5 days." And what it does is it acts like a second skin, and it adheses. That's a word. It adheses to your arm, and it tricks your body into thinking that it's like a scab, like it's already scabbed. So it speeds up the healing process. I thought, oh my God, this is great, right? She says, now, if something happens that water gets into it or it starts to unpeel or something, she says, take it off early, but try to wait at least 3 to 5 days. It's been great until yesterday afternoon. It started itching. Not the tattoo, just the skin from the adhesive started itching. It was driving me crazy. So finally, I got up this morning. We were at camp. I got up and I took it off, which was an adventure in and of itself because it's quite a strong adhesive.
Right.
But I just get one little spot where it kind of bruised me when I was taking it off. You kind of have to put like either olive oil or like really warm water on it and run it on it as you're taking it off. But it looks beautiful. The tattoo is already healing. So I made it like 2.5 days. So that's not too bad. But it's beautiful. It's hardly raised at all. No redness. No, just a little tiny bit sore when you touch it. Otherwise, fine. So I should be fine with it. But I had never heard of Sanoderm before. So apparently it's this new thing. And I would highly recommend it. But it is kind of annoying. I can only imagine if you have it on a part of your body where you don't have really good access to it all the time, that the itching and stuff like that might drive you crazy. But anyways, so I have that. I'll post it in the group because I think it's a really nice little tribute to my mom. And so I did that. So that was my big news for the last few days. Did you hear about comedian Matt Rife and his friend? Yes. Here we go again. I feel like not only in the United States right now in general, if you get my drift, but in the paranormal world, I'm starting to feel like it's just this really weird movie, this really weird B movie that this nightmare that we can't get out of because all this strange stuff is happening. And this is yet another one having to do with Ed and Lorraine Warren, the Occult Museum, the Annabelle Doll, the Devil's on the Run tour, the whole 9 yards. Apparently, Matt Rife, who, by the way, Todd, I think is very funny, and I laugh every time I listen to him.
I used to, and then he did some really stupid shit, and now it's like, you know what? Fuck off. And I'm not even talking about this level of stupid. Right. Just he said and did some stupid stuff.
Oh, see that? Yeah. If I had known about that, that would have really irritated me.
I used to be a fan, and over time I was like,
Yeah. Well, this has got me double having second thoughts anyways, because I'm sorry. I just don't know how I feel about all this craziness that's going on with this doll right now and everything that's I had a couple weeks ago heard something. There was a rumor going around that he had bought the Conjuring house. And the Conjuring house, of course, is the house in Rhode Island that has been in the news the past year or so because Jacqueline Nunez, who bought the house a couple of years ago, according to many different people, kind of went off the deep end. And so there's been a lot of that kind of stuff. She's been going back and forth legally with the town in Rhode Island, and Jason Hawes has had to be involved, and just crazy, crazy stuff going on there. Just look it up. You'll understand what I mean. So I thought that was kind of weird. I heard that he had bought that. So apparently that's not true, although I'm still seeing things being brought up about the fact that he bought the Conjuring house, although there are many reports saying that was a rumor. This is the truth. So what's the truth? Apparently, I think I sent it to you the other day. He posted on his Instagram that he and his friend have purchased Ed and Lorraine's home. Not the Conjuring house, their home. And he now has rights to the museum. So I'm just going to read you what he wrote. He had video on there too, but I'm just going to read you guys what he wrote. And I want to see what you think about this, Todd. Says, insane announcement. I have officially purchased Ed and Lorraine Warren's home and Occult Museum, including being the legal guardian for at least the next 5 years of the entire haunted collection, including the Annabelle Doll. The Annabelle Doll in caps, with my good friend Elton Casti. I have no idea who Elton Casti is. I have never heard this man's name in my life. If you know me, you know I'm obsessed with the paranormal and all things haunted. You also may know the Conjuring films are my favorite scary movies of all time. So I'm incredibly honored to have taken over one of the most prominent properties in paranormal history. Ed and Lorraine Warren arguably put demonology and paranormal into the mainstream and are the very heart of some of the most famous haunted stories of all time, including The Conjuring House, Amityville Horror, etc. Here we go. We plan to open the house for overnight stays and museum tours so you yourself can experience and learn all the haunted history surrounding the amazing place. Well, let me give you my quick take because it won't take long. This is, I don't know, really kind of crazy, but I feel like it's the same idea that we were so upset about a few years ago.
Yeah.
The Conjuring House.
Right.
And turning these two people's personal homes, whether you like them or not, whether you cared for them or not, whether you thought they were legit or not, does not matter. These two people who passed away in their home, apparently now we're going to open the house up to people to spend the night, and Matt Rife is in charge of this doll. So then I find out that I see a video. I think I sent you the video on Instagram. The video from NESPR, which is the New England Society for Paranormal Research, and that was Ed and Lorraine's group or organization. And then when they passed, it got taken over. It's still there today. They're the ones doing the Devils on the Run tour and everything. Apparently in 2018, the museum was shut down because of zoning. So one of the members of NESPR made a reel that said basically, don't worry, we're still taking Annabelle on the road.
Right.
So now you've got all of this stuff going on. You've got Matt Rife and his friend purchasing the home of Ed and Lorraine Warren, who, by the way, was not anything to do. It was a private home. And now I don't know what they have in their home, but it was a private home. And then he's got control of the Occult Museum, and they're still, after everything that's been going on, they're still taking this doll on the road. I don't know what I think about this, Todd. I'm trying to process this.
I think it's the same mentality that we see with Zach Bagans, right? That's the mentality here, which is let's make this a spectacle. Let's not make this an actual science, or even let's not take this seriously. Let's just fuck around. Let's make some money off of it. Everybody likes to be scared. Everybody likes, whatever. That's what's going on here. And Matt Rife has absolutely, I'm happy that he's interested in the paranormal. I think that's great. If you want to buy the Warrens' home because you have some sort of sentimental attachment to it, okay. But he's going to open it up for tours and probably investigating and all that shit. Now, I think it's nuts. And also, if you were Ed and Lorraine Warren, right? And you were you were paranormal investigators before there were paranormal investigators out there. And you took all the shit that you took over the years for your work, because people didn't understand, people didn't like you, all that. You finally pass away, you're gone. How would you feel about the type of investigators that are out there today? And I'm not saying all groups are like this. Obviously not. There's some very good paranormal groups out there. How would you feel if some yahoos came in and started bothering your domain, your place?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just think this is a really, really, really bad idea.
I do too. And, I will say this. The question is, where do you draw the line, right? So I will say that
at the point of good taste, it's gone beyond good taste now.
I know. And that's the problem. And of course, this is just our opinions. This isn't right or wrong. Everybody has different opinions, and everybody's welcome to their opinion. We're not putting anyone down. But it is a home. It was a private home, and it shouldn't just lay in ruin. It shouldn't just fall apart. It should be used for something. I have no issue with that. I think even if you were to open the home up to appointment only visitors, right? So that that it's not going to be a circus, a sideshow circus. Okay. Again, with the Conjuring House, I feel like that is a place that should have never been just I'm going to say haphazardly, whether it's true or not, but just opened up to anyone who was willing to pay the money to go and stay. I just think that's not respectful to the spirits, to the history, to anything, to turn it into that. And it's all over the place. I'm not saying it's, I think to a certain level. You've got St. Augustine Lighthouse that has been opened up not only for history, which is amazing, but also for the spirits. They do ghost hunts at St. Augustine Lighthouses. I could name a million other places in the United States alone, let alone the rest of the world. That's fine. Do it. But I just hope, and I'm not saying they're not, but I just hope that when this comes to fruition, that it is done with honor and respect.
Not gonna be.
And
not going to be.
I don't think it will be. But I would hope that it would be, because
it's not going to be.
These are two human beings who live their life. Again, whether you like them or not, whether you believe they're legit or not, it doesn't matter. These are two human beings, and their name is just being used now. And I just think that that's wrong. I think it's wrong.
This is a viral world. This is a streaming world. This is all that bullshit. And if you watch any of that content, it is over the top. What can we do to make people talk? It's not good. Just
the fact, Todd, that Matt Rife has appeared on Ghost Adventures sets me right off. I'm just like, what the F? What the F? So he's in with that. He's in with that side of the entertainment world. That's great.
I have to laugh because I've been watching, every once in a while, I'll throw on the old Ghost Hunters channel. They play all the old ones.
Yes.
And the season or seasons where the producers made them have all these celebrities come on, and they had like the Real Housewives of Atlanta on or something like that.
Yes.
I think, to be honest with you, for me, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe, I remember them doing that shit. And I know that they would bring people in for Halloween. That's different, right? For their live Halloween stuff. There was a wrestler on for Halloween one time.
I remember.
He was this big badass dude, right? And then at one point, the whole thing is wrapped up and they're standing around at the end and they're just kind of talking, and he sees something and he goes squealing off like a child. And I thought to myself, okay. But that's what producers are doing, and that's what the relatively large audience wants, is just how over the top can we be about everything.
But the difference for me is yes, Ghost Hunters is one thing, but Ghost Adventures is something completely different. You know what I mean?
That.
Like,
I do understand that.
I get that, and I get that celebrities bring in viewers, and I get that viewers bring in money. I totally get all of that.
How would you like to have been part of the Ghost Hunters team? And I think when they first started, they were very, and probably most of them are still this way, but very true to the task, right? They weren't making shit up. And I think, how would you like to be on that show? And the producer saying, oh, and by the way, this week it's going to be, Desperate Housewives of Atlanta. And next week we're going to have on Rock and Bop 'em from WWE or whatever it was.
Well, you know what's funny? Ironically, you brought that up. And if anybody, whoever listens to us on a regular basis, know that a few years ago, Dave and I traveled down to Pennsylvania, to Wilkes-Barre, Scranton area, because I have ancestors who, back in the 1700s, lived there. They were Quakers originally my family came from the United Kingdom and other areas on one side of my family. And so they had gone to Rhode Island, Connecticut, and then they moved to Pennsylvania. And they were Quakers and everything. And this was 1750s. And their daughter was kidnapped by the Native Americans and lived with them until her death. They found her decades later in, I want to say it was Indiana. Now I'm talking off the top of my head because I wasn't planning on this, but they found her. She refused to come home. She had married a couple different tribal chiefs, they had children. So it was a big story. So anyways, we had traveled down there so that I could get closer to my roots and visit the cemeteries and visit where they lived and all that kind of stuff. Well, one of the episodes of Ghost Hunters that actually got me going with this was the Osterhout Library in that area. And the Ghost Hunters gang investigated it.
Who was with them, though? Was it the figure skater?
Yes.
Yes.
Johnny, I can't remember his last name. And they had like a very famous, but a figure skater investigating with them. And I'm like, this isn't really what I wanted to watch right in this particular episode. I really just wanted to know if they were reaching Jonathan Slocum, right?
Johnny Weir. That was it. Johnny Weir. And which I like Johnny Weir. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with Johnny Weir, but I don't know that he would have been the best choice in a Ghost Hunters episode. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? So I get it, but I don't get it at some point. And it's just... Again, how would you feel if you were the Ghost Hunters? Like, you're trying to keep things on the up and up. It's very important with you, blah, blah, blah.
Which also brings me to another thing I kind of wanted to discuss with the difference between different shows and whether it be on television or YouTube, on networks or
By the way, CM Punk was the guy who was the wrestler.
Yes, that's right.
Who went running off like a fucking girl.
I absolutely love CM Punk. I have always loved CM Punk. He's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. And
maybe that's not him. Go ahead.
But that would be funny because he has such a tough persona. And for him to be screaming like a girl is kind of funny.
Elijah Burke was the one I'm talking about. And there's actually a clip. Now, I'm going to see if I can pull this up. Hold on a second.
The door at the end. Block out the light.
Dude, we both saw a shadow. Jay and I run down. I'm chasing it. I'm watching it go past the doorway.
Okay, he's here.
Hear something?
No, you felt something.
Yeah, man. Take a breath.
Don't worry about it, man. Happens.
Did somebody tell me?
Okay, I can play again. Hold on.
Okay.
Here's where it is.
Hand gestures, thinking that I'm seeing a reflection, and all of a sudden, it basically, I saw it just.
Freaking A!
Oh my God! He scared the crap out of me.
I have never had.
Where is he going?
A big guy just run at me like that. What did he just do?
So yeah, that's funny shit.
Well, here's the thing though, Todd. Here's the thing though. On Ghost Hunters, I don't like it. I don't like it because they were a very serious group.
Right.
They were a very even today, Jason Hawes is very serious. He jokes around in his videos on YouTube, but he's very serious. He wants to get the story. On a show like Ghost Adventures, which is pure bullshit. Ridiculousness and bullshit and everything. that's the kind of show. And they've had wrestlers over the years on there, and and so Chris, who is one of our podcast friends and listeners,
yep.
She messaged me a week or so ago and asked us to discuss sort of kind of what we have been discussing during this episode. The difference between shows that are out there, regardless of whether they're on TV or on YouTube, that are serious and shows that are bullshit and are just sort of like the scream and yell and jump scare type things, which I will say personally, I am not a fan of those shows. The only one I've ever enjoyed, if enjoyed would be a good word for this, enjoyed would be Project Fear, or it was Destination Fear back in the TV days. I like them. They're likable people. The point of their show is to basically see how far they can push themselves. So it's a little bit different of a premise from, say, the Sam and Colby type stuff, where it's literally just jumping and screaming and getting scared and swearing constantly because that's what people like. Whereas in Project Fear, it's a little bit different. They're just trying to push themselves to the limits and seeing how much they can deal with. I get it. I am not a jump scare fan. I don't think that it adds to me personally, because I've been there, I've done that. I've experienced so many things over the years, and Dave and I were just in a place over the weekend that we had investigated a couple of years ago with some of the most profound things ever happened to us. It was the old tavern, Todd. Remember where the items were being thrown at us, and I think I was touched or pushed by something by the gentleman. And so to me, it's a serious thing. I'm not about jump scares. Some people it may be for, but I just don't feel like that adds anything to the conversation, to the paranormal world conversation, when all you're doing is running around and jumping and screaming, and you're not talking about history. You're not talking about anything. You're not trying to figure out how you can help somebody. Instead, you're just screaming and jumping around. So that's my take. And to me, A Ghost Adventures is just one of the most ridiculous shows. And it's sad, Todd, because when that show first started, I remember Dave and I sit in the living room years ago and watching the documentary that they did. The very first thing that ever came out was a documentary they did for a film festival. And that was the original. And that's where it all started. And it was so good. And it was so raw. And it was so honest. And then so slowly over the years, it's just turned into this circus. And there's no respect for the paranormal world in it. There's nothing. It's a circus. It's a moneymaker. And they're going to keep doing this for the rest of their lives until the money stops. They're not going to care at that point. And that is really sad to me. So some people like jump scares. I think it's ridiculous. Maybe because I have had my own share of I've done dozens upon dozens of investigations, private little personal ones on the side. I've done all of that stuff. And I've had so many interactions and connections with people who have passed over that at this point, I just have no patience left for it.
Yeah, it doesn't do a damn thing for me.
No.
So
no. When you are putting out episodes that are getting 16, 17 million views because you're jumping around and screaming, more power to you. If that's what you want to do.
They're making a ton of money.
A ton of money.
So would you do it for a ton of money? If somebody said you were going to make, let's say somebody said you're going to make like a $200,000 a month. And trust me, they're making a lot more than that.
Oh, they are. They are. Oh, well, yeah. I mean, money is a motivator for everybody, right? I mean, you do, but where do you draw the line between respect and a circus? Like, can you draw the line at that point? I don't know. I'll never have the opportunity to make that kind of money. So I just feel like personally for me, it's just a bunch of bullshit. And it's exciting for people who have never done it before, who have never experienced it. And I'm just afraid that people think that's what it's really like. And that's not at all what it's like at all, ever. It's not like that.
You want to watch a show on YouTube that I think does a really nice job of, it's well produced. It is good investigating. Michelle Belanger is involved. And you also get to see what it's really like to sit around and not get anything.
Right.
That would be Katrina Weidman. I'm sorry, it's Weidman, I believe. Weidman.
I've always called her Weidman, but I don't know for sure. You know how that goes.
Very, very good.
100% agree with you. And look, nobody wants to, and it's the same with the ghost hunters, guys. Nobody wants to sit there and watch us do a 6 or 8 hour investigation where we're just sitting there in the dark and nothing at all is happening. They want to see the good stuff. I get it. Believe me. I wish I could just go to an investigation and not spend 6 or 7 hours there and get just the good stuff. We all do. But that's not what real life is. So I guess you have your two choices and you can go with one or the other or both. You're more than welcome to enjoy both. I just feel like it's a shame that a lot of people out there who have never experienced it think that that's what it is. And my remedy to that is, if you really want to investigate, go investigate. Take one of those group investigations. Take a group investigation. Go see what it's like. Even if it's only a 3 or 4 hour investigation, go check it out and see what it's like. It's a lot different than what you see on some of those videos. And some of you may love it, and some of you may be like, that's not for me. I'd rather see the jump scare videos on YouTube. That's great. But go see for yourself what it's like and what it's like in the moment during an actual investigation. So, anyways, that's that. And the last thing I just want to talk about quick is this group that I belong to on Facebook. Yes, another group. It's called Proof of Life After Death. And a lot of these groups I just join for the heck of it to see what they're about. And 9 out of 10 of them I exit out of because they're dumb. This is a pretty good one, because this one is people telling their personal stories and sort of trying to get people's take on it, people's thoughts and their opinions on what it could be. And so I like to read through them. And there were a few of them this week that really caught my eye, and they're quick ones, but I just want to talk about them because I thought they were super interesting. This first person says, my best friend passed away on June 7th of this year. He took his life and I have been struggling. I chat about him and constantly catch myself thinking about him and watching all of our videos together. I have now received 2 blank text messages from his phone since he left the earth. It's just very bizarre, almost like he knows I am wanting to message him. And this seems to be quite the topic in this group, and I just find it super interesting. There was another, let me see if I can pull it up here. There was another one that I really, really liked. And again, staying with the theme of like text messages after people have passed away, different signs after people have passed away. And I thought that this one was really, really interesting. So this was from the just the other day, July 31st. It says, last November, my husband's aunt was babysitting our 4-year-old son when she unexpectedly passed away. She had been upstairs resting most of the day while another adult was downstairs with our son. Throughout the day, our son kept running upstairs to check on her. We believe he may have actually witnessed her passing. By the time I arrived, the ambulance had already come. The entire experience was incredibly traumatic for our son, and it's something that has weighed heavily on my heart. Fast forward 8 months later, and both my husband and I received a text message from the aunt's old number, and it simply said, quote, "I'm sorry." At first, I thought maybe it was some kind of glitch or mistake. I reacted to the message with a heart, and not long after, the new owner of the number called me. They said they got a notification from me, but couldn't see what the message was. I explained that I had received the "I'm sorry" text, and they told me they had gotten the number a few months earlier and hadn't messaged either of us. What's strange is that out of everyone in the family, only my husband and I received that message. I thought about it so much, and the only explanation that brings me peace is that maybe she was trying to say she's sorry for passing in front of our son. And then she actually posted a picture of the text, and it's an "I'm sorry," and then sort of like the little emoji of the woman kind of like looking down. It's actually heartbreaking. And so it just seems to be this incredible plethora, abundance of these types of messages in this group. And it's a pretty serious group. Nobody really posts in there with stupid things. But it seems like there's a lot of that. And over the years, I remember on shows like In Search Of, and when I used to scramble to find paranormal shows as a kid, I remember hearing stories about not so much text, but about telephone calls from the dead. And ironically enough, in case anybody didn't know, the original spirit box, the Frank's box that was made by a man named Frank Sumption years ago, and has since morphed into the spirit boxes that we know today, was originally called not the spirit box, but the telephone to the dead. And I remember hearing stories about people having their phones ring and getting messages, having static on the line, and people sounding very far away trying to say something, or answering machines back in the day when they were actually, separate from the phone, and hearing staticky voice messages coming through on the answering machine. And I find it fascinating. And honestly, I don't know what to make of it. I do believe that obviously there is something to this. I don't know if it's an energy type of thing, if it's a way that they can do this. But now we're seeing it more and more with text messages. And this made me think, Todd, about you. Oh my gosh, like how many years ago was it? Maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And you sent me the recording that you had involving that.
That was my mom, right? My mom and dad, yeah.
Yes. And your mom, you think, and it sounded like that somewhat to me, you think that your mom called and left the message on your dad's answering machine.
Well, what happened was my dad called my sister Dawn.
Okay, right.
And she didn't answer. And so dad was not one for leaving a message. Mm-hmm. So he hung up, or thought he did. He just set the phone down. So her cell phone went into recording message mode and recorded 2 minutes of audio. And there was some audio that kind of seemed to come through.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. I mean, if we believe in spirit boxes and you believe in novelists or any of that kind of stuff.
Right.
They obviously can manipulate electronic equipment. So to think that they can't text is silly, right?
Exactly. I think that I honestly, why wouldn't texting be just as easy as a phone or an answering machine? I would think it would be just easier, maybe, texting, and there's like hundreds of these stories. So it's sort of like, when you hear about like cryptoids and stuff like that, or UFOs, and you say to yourself, if all of these people can't be wrong, all of these people can't be getting random stuff, for no reason, or, because of a glitch, the law of averages says that can't be true. So not everybody is insane. And I just found it really heartwarming to know that there are things out there that are being used to connect with people who you love and miss. Right? I mean, how many times have you and I used the spirit box to connect with our loved ones? And it by all intents, it worked to some extent. So I just thought that was really cool. It was a great little story, and it kind of, like she said, it kind of gave her hope that there was communication and she understood everything, and just a wonderful story.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Cool. So it's called Proof of Life After Death on Facebook. Join the group. It's a really good one, and I just really liked it.
Cool.
Yeah. So we kind of ran the gambit of everything.
We shot our load in one podcast.
We
could have saved some for next time, but
I know, and I have a couple of things that we can talk about next time too. So we're pretty good to go.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So be listening for the next episode. We never know what we're doing and when we're doing it, but
Sandy has a plan. So whatever Sandy says, we do.
That's the first time I think you've ever said that. Usually it's like whatever Sandy says, I'm not going to do.
It could be also a little sarcasm.
I know.
So at any rate.
I know.
All right. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.
We make podcasting easy. Mindgarden Media can get you going on your very own podcast. With many years in the broadcast and audio industry, Mindgarden Media can edit, fully produce, and provide all the web distribution services. We're podcasters too, so we'll guide you every step of the way to a professional-sounding podcast production. For information, email the Mindgarden Media at gmail.com, the Mindgarden Media at gmail.com, or check us out on Facebook.